on the season premiere of Between the Wheels.
The new Ford Bronco. It's rugged, it's tough, and it's been shaking the automotive industry, quickly becoming the hottest SUV of the year. But what makes this vehicle so special? Why are people willing to pay $20,000 over MSRP for them? Is it all just hype? Or has Ford resurrected an off-road legend that's going to knock the Wrangler off its throne? All these questions and more will be answered on Between the Wheels. My name is Trooper Max. I'm a car enthusiast and filmmaker. Ever since I was a kid, I've been addicted to anything with four wheels. And as I grew, so did my passion for cars, trucks, and anything that goes fast. Just 6 years old! Now it's time to take my addiction to a whole new level. I'm going to be traveling the world, showing unique vehicles, and sharing amazing stories. Expect to see some wild rides and hear some amazing backstories. But if I'm going to be spending so much time on the road, I'm going to need a solid ride. And what better ride than the hottest SUV of the year, the new Ford Bronco. So let me give to you the much anticipated 2022 Ford Bronco Badlands Edition. This is going to be our travel vehicle, and we're going to show you in this episode why we chose it as our travel vehicle, what all the hype is about, what we like and what we don't like, all the problems and all the advantages of having such a vehicle, and is it worth the price? We're going to go through all those details in this episode. Now, along with that, we're also going to get into the backstory, but that's going to be at the end of the episode. First, we're going to get into what everyone wants to see, all the specs and features. So this particular Badlands comes with a 2.3 liter 300 horsepower engine. It produces 325 foot-pounds of torque. It's the EcoBoost. Now you can also get a 6-cylinder 325 horsepower engine with 410 pounds of torque. However, you cannot get that on the manual transmission, which is what this one is. Now they might change that. I have heard that they're gonna allow the 6-cylinder to have a manual transmission. At this moment, you can only get manual transmission with a 2.3 liter. So you are limited there. Now let's talk about fuel efficiency. Not the best fuel efficiency in the world. It's pretty hard on gas. So a lot of you might be wondering, well, that's not the best fuel efficiency in the world these days, and that's true. However, there is something you can do with these cars that's pretty neat. Now, they take supreme gas in order to get that horsepower. However, you can actually go back down to regular unleaded, and it'll knock you down to about 275 horsepower and about 300 torque. But you could drive regular gas, so you can save some money there if you don't mind not having the full capabilities of your vehicle. That's a pretty cool option. You don't get that with most luxury cars. Now, mind you, this isn't a luxury car, it's an off-road car, but still, that is a pretty cool, unique feature. So this is a huge vehicle. You can see this thing's massive. It's built on the same frame as the Ford Ranger. Now, both those have the same engine. However, the biggest difference in this is towing capacity. The Ford Ranger can haul over 7,000 pounds. This thing, it can only do 3,500. So that's one of the big drawbacks. A lot of people complained about the fact it only hauls 3,500 pounds. And to be quite honest with you, that's pretty low. But you know what? These things weren't designed for hauling. If you want to haul, you should buy yourself like a Ford F-150 or something. This is, an off-road vehicle. So at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Let's talk about the manual transmission because it's a little neat. It's actually a 7-speed. Well, not technically 7, it's 6 plus 1. So it's got 6 gears, regular gears, and then you have a 7th gear, which is a crawler gear. So you can actually go slower than first gear, which is really neat. So very unique. And the first thing I noticed about the transmission, it's a little different than some of the older cars. I'm used to driving older cars, and the first thing I did was burn the shit out of the clutch on the first day. Why the hell did I do that? I'm used to driving a lot of older cars, and the newer cars actually have a feature known as rev matching. So you can't actually stall this thing, and you're not supposed to touch the gas when you're changing gears or when you're trying to start the car. So you're not going to just stop it. If you add gas, you will be burning your clutch like I did, like an idiot on the first day. Thankfully, I learned that quickly, but I learned it the hard way. So this car will automatically put the gas up as you're letting go of the clutch. So do not touch the gas. Pretty cool. So very easy to drive. It kind of reminds me of driving an automatic, but still manual. So you still get the manual experience. So the Ford Bronco comes with about 8 trim levels. They just added the latest one, the Everglades model. We picked the Badlands because the Badlands, in our opinion, is the best one. Well, for the cost, I think you get the most features. I'm gonna go through all the different things that make it so good. And no, it's not just about having a cool emblem on the side of your car. There's lots of things that go along with it. And I will go through all those details on why I believe that is. The first thing you get with the Badlands is you get 33-inch wheels. You do not get this at the trim levels below. They have 32s, and it comes with the all-terrain tires by BF Goodwrench. These are really nice tires. They look really great. You can actually upgrade the rims like I did here. These are not the stock rims. You could pay $700 and get the better rims. I think it's well worth it. It just looks more badass in my opinion. And with this color scheme, it just really completes the look. Another thing you get if you're a details person is the LED headlights. The base models do not come with LED headlights, and this car just really needs them. It's got these really cool headlights, look like power symbols. They did a great job of keeping the classic Bronco look, but making it much more modern. You got a gray grille with these LED lights, and it really doesn't matter what color you pick for your car, it just looks awesome. It's a throwback, but at the same time, it's so modern, and it's like nothing else on the market. With the Badlands, you also get the upgraded axle, the Dana 210. In the lower models, you actually have an option. You can go with the worst axle, but here it comes standard. On top of all that, for off-road protection, you got the rock rails and you got additional skid plates underneath the vehicle. We will be going inside later, but it also comes with auxiliary built in. So there's all these different switches and you could put all these different lights and features outside. It's all pre-wired, really easy to do. That comes standard with the Badlands. Another great feature of the Badlands is you have the front and rear diff lock. So you can lock your differential electronically on your dashboard. We'll go inside later and show you how that works. And then finally, one of the coolest features is the electronic sway bar disconnect. You actually have a button inside the dashboard, you press it. You can actually disconnect your sway bar electronically. And you don't actually have to be on a flat surface and you don't have to do it manually. You could just do it. It's not something we're going to show you how to do here right now. We'll one day do an off-road video. So unlike a lot of cars, you don't have a solid front axle, you have independent suspension, so they work independently. Now this particular model, it's in white and it comes with the soft top. You can get this in a hard top, although I do not recommend it because at this point in time, there's a massive backlog on the hard tops and Ford has actually shut down production at this particular time of these vehicles, so they're just so behind. I really wanted the hard top. I really didn't want the soft top. I got it because I knew I'd get my vehicle quicker. I ordered it and I got it in 5 months. That's fairly long, but for a lot of people, some people have been waiting as much as 18 months for these things. So this has been Ford's biggest problem. There was a lot of issues with the hard top. There's fitment issues, there was leaks. They have worked on this stuff, but there's still issues. It's just not perfected yet. The thing is, the soft top, it's not perfect. It costs a lot more than the hard top, and there's been known to have leaks. So inside, when they were transporting this thing, I actually saw some salt marks inside. So when this thing was being transported, it definitely leaked. But, you know, it's nice to have the car. I'm sure these things will get fixed eventually, and you could fix it. Another thing they did is, if you're afraid of ordering these things and you say, oh, I don't want the soft top because I want the rear wiper, don't worry about that. They have hardwired all that stuff in the back. From September 2021, they started doing that standard so that you can actually upgrade to the hard top from the soft top and have all the things you need there. Everything's pre-wired. So that's a good thing that Ford was thinking ahead for the people that want to buy the hard tops. Now, another thing about this is not the Sasquatch model. It has the 33s. You could actually have 35s. You get the Sasquatch. However, you cannot get that with manual transmission at this point in time. However, I believe they're changing that once again. I didn't actually want the 35s. I've heard a lot of issues people having with 35s. There's a lot more noise when you're turning and already things like suspension and bearings going. So honestly, I think 33s are as far as I'd want to push personally. You could put, you know, the biggest tires you want in the world. You can make a monster truck. But the thing is, this is more than sufficient. These are absolutely massive. And I think in terms of capability, you don't need much more than that. Okay, so let's talk about the doors and mirrors because they're a little wild and wacky. First of all, the doors are not connected to the mirrors. That's right. They are completely independent, and that is because you can actually remove the doors. Much like you remove the roof, you can remove doors, just like any other Jeep. Very cool feature. Now, another thing about these doors, they're frameless. There's no frame. It's just a window. This is where I think things get a little funny. Personally, I'm not a fan of this because not only is there no frame, but when you close the door, the window goes up. So you pull it, the window goes down, you close it, the window goes up. I think that's okay, you know, when you're down south and there's no snow, but here in Canada, when it's minus 40, freezing rain, there's no way in hell that window is moving when this thing's iced over. So I don't think this is a good feature. Not only that, but the thing is, whenever you're going to get your ice scraper, it's in the car. So you have to open it. You can't just remove the ice magically and then get in. This thing's gonna wanna go down. And if it's frozen over, you're not doing it. So kind of a stupid design in my opinion. I think this is gonna be a flaw. In northern climates, this is gonna be a problem. I'm telling you right now, I'm not a mechanic, but it doesn't take, you know, a magician to figure this out. So I could see the doors being a problem, but at the same time, they're gonna perfect things, they're gonna make things better. We'll see what happens. I don't know, who knows? They might be a lot better than I thought. Okay, so the rear end's a little wild and wacky. Does that not remind you of just any other Jeep? You know, Ford wasn't too creative with the back end here. It just looks like the Wrangler. But at the same time, I don't think there's much more they could have done, nor had to do, so it works for me. It is very nice. It's a nice, clean look. It's very simple. It's got very nice LED headlights. Nice solid bumper. You got the wheel in the back. You got a spare full-size 33 reverse camera, so it's really nice. You got all these cool features. Now, using this is a little weird. It's probably one of the oddest systems I've ever seen. So this swings open, and this part here, this is where it gets fun. This is where having the hardtop would be much better. The hardtop you just open, nice and easy. This is a little weird. You have to use these little clips here, and it goes up. And then you got to use this pain in the ass Ford Aerostar 1990 design hood thing. I don't know why they did this. This is hilarious. They really could have used some sort of shock or something. This is really, you know, antique. I'm not sure why they did that, but that's the way it works. And oh, now I can access all my stuff. So the rear end, the trunk here, it's not huge. In comparison to my last car, it's actually narrower than my BMW X5, so there's not quite as much room. About the same depth, but it's pretty big, and it's actually very tall in here, so you can load a lot of stuff in here. So it's not the biggest trunk in the world, but it's a very adequate size. I do like it. I think it's pretty cool. Lots of customization you can do here. You can order lots of aftermarket stuff. You can actually put a table on the gate here, so it's kind of cool. There's all these different things. We're not going to go into that. We're just going to talk about the rear end here. As you can see, it easily fits all my gear, so this is really all I need. But you know, if you're looking for more room, you're not going to be putting 4x8 sheets of plywood back here, let me tell you that. Now, another supply chain issue they had was with the trailer hitch. As you can see here, I got one. I was lucky enough to get it. There was an issue there. I thought it would take longer, but thankfully I was able to get it. So it comes pre-wired and everything with 2 different types of plugs, so very nice to get that. Okay, going inside. It's pretty big back here. It's pretty comfortable. The seats are like very vertical. They're really sitting straight, so your posture is going to be excellent after you sit in here for a while. There's a lot of leg room, so right now I'm only 5'8", so I'm short, but the seat in the front is set for me. And look, I got lots of room here. You know, if you threw Doug DeMuro in here, I'm sure his knees would be up to here. But for me, you know, the average size person, it's pretty good. You got lots of room back here. You know, you got a little bit of storage here, not much storage on the side, but you got some. But it's pretty large back here, and it's really comfortable. And based on the type of trim you pick, this one's got leather. This is very comfortable. This leather is well worth it. Got some cup holders here. And I got a car seat in here because I'm a dad, and the car seat is probably the more difficult part. One thing I noticed is loading up my kid, putting him in there, it's a lot more difficult. Like, it's very narrow here in comparison to other cars I've had in the past. So not only is it high, you got to put him way up, but you got to really squeeze him in. So you don't have as much room, especially if you have a space seat like here, where it can blast off into space. It's a lot more difficult to put your kid in here, but it's doable. Once again, you can remove the doors just like the front if you decide to go off-roading. But it's huge in here. I got lots of headroom. It's very visible. It's really cool. I feel very high up. I really like the layout here. This is the first time I've been back here, so kind of enjoying it as much as I prefer being in the front. This is really nice, so getting in and out, that just made it really easy. Definitely will help most people. So let's go in the front now and talk about the different trims and options. So coming inside, first of all, you got lots of room here. Once again, the seats are super comfortable. These are the leather seats. Steering wheel is very nice. It's pretty simple in here. We're gonna go over the details more when we go for a drive in a few minutes. But just first impressions in here, it looks awesome in here. You know, you got a very vertical windshield, lots of headroom, lots of space. You know, we got the 7-speed manual, of course. and quite a few gadgets and features as well. Now this is the luxury model, and the reason I bought the luxury package was not because I want everything, but because the customization on the website is actually very limited. So if you want something like, let's say, a heated steering wheel, which is what I wanted, I know it's a little bougie and a little ridiculous, but here in Canada it gets pretty cold and it's really nice to have one. You can only get that in the top of the line model, I guess you could say. So it's not like you can say, oh, I want this and I want this, I want the, you know, leather seats, but I want you can't do that. You can only pick packages. So really the customization is rather limited. So I know they do this to make it easier for themselves, but if you're looking to customize your car, you really can't do it that much. There's 3 packages. Depending on what you get is what you get. It's on the website. I'm not going to go through it, but we ended up getting leather because I originally wanted the vinyl, to be honest with you, but I wanted heated seats and I wanted the heated steering wheel, and you couldn't get that in the leatherette like you can in some other cars like Volkswagens and whatnot. So decided to go with the, you know, put the extra money in, and at the same time, I got to tell you, I'm not disappointed. I've only had this for a couple days, but so far it's really well done. It's really high quality, and I'm not disappointed. Now it has the 7-speed manual. It says BAM, you know, built in Dearborn, Michigan. Very cool. That's cool to have that emblem there. And at the same time, right beside here, you have your switch for your 4-wheel drive. So this thing, you can have it rear-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive. You could have 4 high, 4 low, lots of different modes and so many different things. I'm not going to go into all the modes right now, but there's so many different things you can go, you know, rock crawler mode, mud mode, snow, like any car these days. There's a lot of things you could pick, and based on what you want is what you can get. So this lovely little panel and dashboard is all our cool little tricks you could do with this car. First of all, obviously you got your 4-ways. That's pretty normal, every car. Then you have this button, which is the traction control off button. Obviously you get that on every vehicle. Now, however, this one works differently than a lot of vehicles. Your car normally has traction control, and that basically means that if you get into a slip or slide or something like that, it will correct, it will bog you down, and it will get back in control. If you hit this button on other cars, it will disengage some of it, but it won't disengage all of it. Only on some vehicles I've seen it actually turns everything off, especially in your vehicles. However, on this one, if you hit it, it turns everything off fully, so you got full control. Now that means you can do anything you want. You can be stupid if you want, or not that I recommend that, of course. But if you need some power, if you need full control, you can use that. You can go off-roading and whatnot. Obviously, this is not for beginners or new drivers. This is definitely advanced. These 2 buttons here, which look similar, yes, they are the same thing. They are actually the front and rear differential lock. And what that means is differential lock, for those of you that don't know, when you have, let's say, 4-wheel drive, you have your 4 wheels turning. You'll have power going to those wheels, and based on what your vehicle's doing, where it's slipping, where it's not, it will distribute the power to what wheels need it. Now with differential lock, you can actually make it so all the power is distributed equally. And basically what that means is if you're going off-roading, you have full control of your vehicle. Now this is not something you can do on the road. You would destroy your vehicle. You do not want these off. You do not want these on. However, if you're off-roading, if you're stuck, if you put this on, this is just another way of getting out of mud or getting out of the snow. This is a great little tool. Most vehicles do not have this. This is very advanced. It's on the Badlands. You can get it on a lot of the other trims as well. However, it's standard to having both the front and the back. This is really cool. And then finally, the sway bar disconnect, which I was talking about, the secret little tool they have here. It's an electronic one. You click that, and what happens is it disconnects the bar between the suspension. And what happens, let's say you're stuck somewhere and one of your wheels is in the air, and you want to get out and you can't, and the wheel's spinning, you can actually hit that button. What will happen is, and all of a sudden, it will disconnect and your wheel will go down, and basically you will have all this extra flex. So a lot of these vehicles with the suspension, they have flex. You've ever seen Jeeps going over rocks and whatnot. They can actually really use the maximum amount of their suspension based on the sway bar disconnect. But normally this is done manually, whereas this thing is done electronically. You can do it while you're stuck. It's not like, oh, you got to go on flat ground then turn on. You can do it anytime you want. So this is a really cool trick. Bronco is the only one that does this. So honestly, a really, really cool trick. You know, I can keep going on and on about the features, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to start driving and then keep talking about the features so that it's a little more enjoyable than just watching me talk. Let's go for a drive. All right, so we're going to start her up now. It does not have a manual handbrake. Unfortunately, I really wish it did. It has an electronic one. It's on this side. And that's to be expected because honestly in automatics, that's what they use. So they weren't gonna make this elaborate old school handbrake just for the manual. So we're gonna get going now. So I am not putting my foot on the gas right now. This is all, it just started by itself. That's that rev matching. So first impression of this, it's huge. It literally feels like you're driving a tank. You know, it's funny because the person that sold me on this and the line that sold me on this, I was researching this for a long time, but the thing that sold me was Doug DeMuro. He was driving it and he said, driving this thing, you literally feel like the king on the road. And I just laughed and I thought that was hilarious, but I thought it was awesome too, because at the same time, you gotta have some fun. You just feel so in control in something like this. So it's got a good amount of power. Now I haven't driven this thing too much, so you know, sorry if my driving is not the greatest. I've been driving automatic for a couple years lately. So we'll just get going here. So I'm just loving the view. So visibility wise, really good. Rear view mirror, I can see everything nicely. Extremely high up, which is nice. Once again, because we're so high up with the suspension and these big wheels, there's a lot to see. You can actually turn a camera on in the front. There's a camera in the front and you can put it on the screen so you can actually see where you're going. If you're going slow or you're doing hills and whatnot, going up some rough terrain, but you don't really need it for regular everyday driving. I got heated seats, heated steering wheel, you know, everything you can possibly want and more. So we're gonna actually jump on the highway now just to see what this thing can do on the highway in terms of power. And honestly, it's the weirdest part about this thing, as huge as it is, it's absolutely massive. It still feels like a regular car in a way. Like, you really gotta fight with some of the older vehicles. This one, like larger vehicles, have another Jeep, it feels a lot more different, like a Cherokee XJ. You really gotta fight it, whereas this, it's really smooth, it's really nice. It feels like a regular car. So nice and simple. You know, this is fantastic. So we're gonna get going here. We're going the highway. We'll see how it goes on the highway. First impression is it's just so comfortable. I'm not feeling any of the bumps. It's just so comfortable. Very luxurious ride. I can hear some wind noise already, even at just 50 kilometers an hour. The soft top is known to be loud. You can hear it blowing. It's, you know, it's not gonna be the quietest ride in the world. So you can get sound deadening with the hard top. So there are options. However, this one doesn't have it. It's a soft top, doesn't have it because it pulls back. So it's a little bit different. I'm just taking her easy right now. Not going too crazy, but we're just gonna join on the highway here. Now I might be a little slow at the times talking because I'm just paying attention to my driving. So just bear with me. I'm loving the visibility. Like, the mirrors are just huge. It's like having massive HD screens. You can see absolutely everything. It's really nice. Now it's a little busier right now, so I don't know how quick we'll be able to go. I feel very squared off. Like, having these tie downs really gives you a good idea where you are with your vehicle. Look how people merge here. They're dangerous as hell. And people laugh at me when I say Ottawa is a bad place to drive. Oh, you can definitely hear some turbo there. That's nice. We're just gonna give her. So already up to 120 kilometers in absolutely no time. Wow. You know, it's only a 4-cylinder, but you know, that 300 horsepower, it has some kick. This inline 4 kicks ass. Loving it. So we're in 5th now. About 2,000 RPM. I don't even feel the need to go into 6th right now, to be honest with you, because we're only at 2,000. Wow, that's really cool. Now this is a really bumpy road. I'm not feeling anything. It's really comfortable. I am noticing some wind noise, and I actually could feel that it got a little cooler in here since we started driving. So the soft top has its drawbacks, but it's not crazy loud. I'm not hating it. You know, I could live with this. Sound system. Oh, I got the upgraded sound system, and you know, we drive a lot, so it's nice to have good music. I will show you what this thing's like. I don't know how well you're gonna hear it, but I think that's kind of the point. So let's just put it to something. That's max volume. If you can still hear me, that's a problem. So the sound system is, how do I say this? If you ever watch The Office, the Christmas special, and Michael gets the oven mitt, he opens it, come on. That's exactly what my response was when I first played this. I was so disappointed. I really thought that the upgraded sound system would be better than that. It's not very good. It's really hard to show that through, just an audio pack like this, but honestly, the sound system, it's worse than, significantly worse than my wife's 2017 stock Audi Q7. Her sound system kicks ass, and that thing's stock. This thing, that's horrible. It's really bad, to be honest with you. I've heard a lot of people saying that they have to update this, and I was like, it can't be that bad. Well, you know what? Now I do see it. So sound system's pretty shitty, to be honest with you. Oh well, you can't win them all, and I could really feel it cooling down here a lot more too. So that wind noise is definitely cooling down, but it's not overly loud. It's just, you can actually feel wind in here. It's kind of weird. I'm not used to that. So definitely hoping to upgrade to the hardtop one day. I don't know when it's going to be available. I really wish I could have that, but I would rather have the vehicle than not right now. I'm pretty excited to travel with this thing. I like it so far. It's awesome. We're actually going to get off here, and we're going to go back. Just do another test with some highway driving. It's not quite as busy here. It is so nice to have a manual again. I cannot believe in 2022 I could still buy a manual. It's definitely the end of the last days of it, but the fact that I was able to get this, the fact that Ford thought, hey, let's think of our, hardcore old school people. This is awesome. It's such a throwback. It's not even about, I absolutely need manual. It's just so much funner. Like, I'm just loving the drive right now. I'm shifting more than I need to be completely honest with you. But it's just so much fun. And I think that's the point. And that's something that vehicles need to have, is the fun aspect. I feel like, the newer the cars get, and the more safety, and the more this, and the more that, you really lose the fun aspect. Whereas this, there's plenty of fun here. Wow, the brakes are really, really sharp too. Loving it. So we're just gonna do a loop-de-loop, and we'll get back on the highway. All right, so we're just about to get back on the highway here, and I am just loving this thing. Wow, you can really hear that wind noise now. You see it? Yeah, a lot of wind noise. Going against the wind here, holy cow. So this is a wind noise monster now. Wow, I hadn't experienced this before. You see, this is why we take it for test drive, because you don't know. But I'm having a lot of fun. Honestly, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It's not going to have everything you want. Will this be our travel vehicle? Absolutely. I'm loving it. I'm loving the space, the comfort, the vision, the style. It's awesome. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to pull over, and we're going to talk about why I purchased this thing. Well, that was an awesome drive. Honestly, very enlightening. I learned something new every time I drive it, and overall, I gotta say, I'm really happy with it. So, first things first, let's talk about why I bought it, all the features, and things I like, things I don't like. So first of all, this thing, it's not cheap. It was 80,000 Canadian. So it's fully loaded Badlands Bronco, very, very expensive. So the price tag is a little scary, but at the same time, honestly, I love this thing. It reminds me of my old Cherokee XJ. It's just much more modern, having the same features, having the diff lock, having the ability to turn traction control off, the manual transmission. It's an awesome throwback to the old days. You could have so much fun with this vehicle, but at the same time, you could daily drive it very easy. And I think that's the whole point, is that this is almost like the total package. I think Ford did a really good job not only designing this modern with the classic look, but also making sure that you can do anything you need to do. Reasons I bought it: number one was the manual transmission. I really wanted the manual. It got me interested. The more I looked into it, the more things I liked. You know, I got the trailer hitch so I can haul stuff, got lots of space. My wife really enjoyed being in here when we were in here, so she liked it, so that passes that test. It's very comfortable. So we got lots of things we're going to be able to do in this thing. So we're super happy with it. I love the fact that I can go anywhere I want, on or off-road, and I'm not going to get scared of getting stuck or not being able to get out. We're going to do so many different things. So those are the main reasons why I bought it. I'm happy with the engine. The only things I don't like: the fuel efficiency kind of sucks. The wind noise sucks. Not the end of the world. We could change the wind noise. Fuel efficiency, it is what it is. So now, I mentioned earlier that this whole show is all going to be about rides and stories. And in this particular one, I don't have someone else here. This is my particular car, and this car has no background. But that's the whole point of the show. The whole point of the show is that every story has a beginning, and this is the beginning. So this Bronco is going to be in every episode. My plan is to, 10 years from now, say all the cool things we did with this Bronco, all the places we visited. That's where I want. I want this to be the beginning of the show. So I'm very committed to making this show, you know, and having this vehicle and sharing the experience with you. So with COVID and everything that's happened recently, I think it's really an eye-opener for people, you know, to really enjoy life. When we were young, we used to do a lot of camping. We spent a lot of time in the bush doing fun things. We haven't done that kind of stuff in so long. Now I have my own family. I want to do the same thing. I want to go camping. I want to do all these fun things. I want to really enjoy life. And I think that's what the Ford Bronco enables. And I think it's an awesome car because of that. Now with this show, we prepare to travel a lot, tell a lot of stories, show a lot of cool cars, and go behind the vehicle, between the wheels, so to speak, taking you along for the ride, telling their side of how they got the vehicle, what they did to it, and the legacy behind it. Because without a story, a car is just a pile of nuts and bolts. Now there's a lot of amazing people out there, a lot of amazing cars, and incredible stories, and I can't wait to start sharing that with you guys. Now the story behind this show itself. Well, I used to work as a freelance videographer for the last 15 years. I worked with Home Renovation DIY for 12 years, believe it or not, making videos and sharing them with the world. I've worked on shows like Survivor Man. I've done movies. I've done television. I've done sports, wrestling. You name it, I've done it. And I was inspired to create this show and share people's stories all around the world. The thing is, this show would not have been here had it not been for one person, and that's my grandmother, Christina. You know, the first 10 years were really, really rough. I made almost no money. I was living with my parents, trying to make it in this industry, and no one really believed me, except her. And the thing is, a lot of people have this issue, and a lot of people will give up, and I almost did many times. But because of her, I kept going. And now here I am. I own this Bronco, which is unbelievable to me. I actually feel guilty. But the thing is, I know how much hard work went into this. And one thing I really wanted to do with this episode was I wanted to take her for a drive and show her this and say, hey, Grandma, look, because of your motivation, look at this. These are the accomplishments I have in my life. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, she collapsed and she had an aneurysm. And I rushed her to the hospital, and it was probably one of the worst days of my life, I'll be honest with you. And that day, I honestly said my goodbyes. And I thought that was the end. But the truth is, she survived. 2 weeks later, she's still fighting for her life, and she's still not giving up. And I'm not giving up on her like she never gave up on me. It would be my dream to take her in this car one day and show her what hard work, not giving up, and her support did. Because that is truly the story between the wheels. All right, so it's been a couple months. It's spring now, and I've had the car for about 2 months. And now it's time to answer the question, is it worth the hype and is it worth the money? In terms of the hype, yes, it is worth it. This truck is absolutely awesome. I love it. See, people won't let me in. bam, you hit the accelerator and you get in. I absolutely love this truck. This thing's amazing. I have almost nothing bad to say about other than the fact that it's kind of a gas guzzler, but you know what? You can't win them all. This truck is just fantastic. I'm loving everything about it. The longer I have it, the more I like it. It's honestly, it's the car of my dreams for sure. Now, is it worth in terms of the money? The answer to that is actually no. For this price tag, I don't believe this is particularly worth it. For most people, they're not going to go for this because of the price. And I do think it's overpriced. I think it's phenomenal, but I'll give you one kind of insight into what I think. So Ford made this to compete with Wrangler, and obviously it does, but there's something else that it's also competing with that they haven't even thought about. The thing is, a lot of people are buying, they buy the Wrangler or they're buying this. Some of those people aren't Wrangler guys. Like, they don't necessarily want a Jeep. A lot of people didn't actually buy this for the Jeep aspect of it. It could have a solid roof, and a lot of people would still buy it. They don't really care. Like myself, I don't care if it has a hard top or soft top. I'd be fine if it just had a regular steel roof. Doesn't even have the window. I don't care. So I'll tell you right now, if a car company wanted to compete with Ford, because Ford did so well with this vehicle, I'm gonna let Jeep know, this is what you guys should do. Bring back the old school Jeep Cherokee XJ that was discontinued in 2001. Make the most simple vehicle possible, okay? You don't need to have all the bells and whistles. You can, but make a very simple base version available with all the off-road capabilities, and make it half the price of what they're selling this thing for, because you don't need to pay like 80,000 Canadian for something like this. This is it's way too expensive. If Jeep really wants to compete, they could do that, because the Wrangler does compete with it, but I really think the Cherokee, if they brought back that old school simple Cherokee, there's such a big market. The amount of people right now that are still driving those older vehicles is pretty crazy. So I was saying whether this car is worth the hype or the money. So it's worth the hype, but not the money, because right now I think if you really want an off-road capable vehicle, they're still not that old that you can go and get an old Cherokee or an old 4Runner or something like that. I think it's worth buying an older vehicle and putting some money into it if you want to do that. It's not worth buying one of these. Like, I don't want to beat the crap out of this thing. It's too damn expensive. So that's what I think. There's a huge market of people out there waiting for this kind of vehicle to go on sale that's not this price tag. So that's my opinion. But anyways, that's kind of my opinion on this. It's an amazing truck. Now, today's a very special day. It's crappy outside, but today's a beautiful day because today I am going to go get my grandma. That's right. It's been 2 months. She's finally getting out. It's almost May. And I can't believe today's the day. We visited her for 2 months, almost every single day. Whether I was there, my mother, or my brother, who was the MVP of this whole thing. So the whole time, my brother went there and he would stay for like 8 hours, He's just an amazing guy. We're really thankful to have him. When we were younger, she took care of both of us. We would do everything together, and I'm just so thankful to have him in my life. I know this is kind of off topic, but he's an awesome guy. He definitely deserves a shout out for everything he did. So anyways, let's go. I'm gonna go pick up my mom, who's coming with me, and we'll go pick up my grandma.
Dobra.
Teraz prize.
Mom, Jasiu.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I hope we'll never see this place again.